Welcome, everyone. I'm Brian Manning. I'm a financial advisor here in Nashville, Tennessee. We're thankful that you're taking a little bit of time to learn a little bit more about the ever changing world of the economy as it relates to the impact of this pandemic. We're fortunate to have Andy Moats. He's our executive vice president over the music, entertainment, and sports division of Pinnacle Financial Partners here in Nashville. Andy's going to share a few thoughts and his perspective on how the economy has been impacted, and specifically the music industry and the entertainment industry, and how the pandemic has impacted the economy. So, Andy, if you would share just a few minutes on your perspective on how things have been impacted, and maybe some guidance for the people that are looking for some answers out there.
Thanks, Brian. Hello, everybody. So yeah, really, the music entertainment business was kind of at the forefront of feeling the impacts of this coronavirus. Obviously, a lot of event cancellations, and we're seeing that impact a lot of our clients right now. So as a whole, I kind of break the music industry down into a couple categories. Record label, music publishers, quite honestly, are holding up very well right now. That's largely considered uncorrelated to this event. We'll see perhaps a little downturn in revenues, maybe tied to what we call sync income or general licensing related to bars and restaurants. But as a whole, we expect music publishers and record labels to hold up very well, and our clients are echoing that. Clearly, the live side is a different story. We've seen mass event cancellations, and we've seen a lot of people affected with the disruption and income related to touring as a whole. We don't know when touring might get going again. A lot of our clients are pushing tours and dates back to the second half of this year. We've actually seen more postponements than we have cancellations, which I think is good news. So we would expect a rebound post-corona, and again, are hoping that's in 2020. But no doubt, artists, artist managers, business managers, venues, promoters, festivals have felt this and have been kind of at the forefront of those impacts.
Yeah, so Andy, I'm sure just like a lot of us here in the banking industry, you're probably fielding lots of phone calls with people trying to understand what is the bank doing right now? What's Pinnacle doing to try to help clients navigate through what for most of us is really uncharted territories? And so what's some of the guidance that you're offering your clients, and some of the conversations that you're having about how Pinnacle's been able to help clients through this situation?
Well, good question. First of all, if it's an existing client that's been affected by COVID-19 in a material way, their existing loan client, we're getting lots of requests. Can I defer my payment for a period of time? My revenue's dried up, whether I'm a small business or I can't be on the road at the moment if I'm an artist or someone who's running a touring space. I might struggle to pay my mortgage at the moment. I might struggle to pay interest on my line of credit. For those clients that were good clients before we knew the word Corona, and are likely to be good clients on the backside of this pandemic, the FDIC has given banks a lot of flexibility to work with our clients during this period of time. So probably number one advice, if you have an existing loan, call your banker. If you need some help, we're really working about 90 days at a time right now. That's about as far as anyone can see in the future at this point. But Pinnacle, and I'm sure many banks, are overly willing to help with it in this period of time, and our bank examiners have given us the ability to do that. So don't just ignore it. Don't just say to yourself, I'm not going to pay that loan right now. Make the phone call. You're highly likely to get some help. In terms of clients, right. Yeah, thanks, Brian. In terms of clients that may not have a current loan facility with us, but they're looking in the future, seeing their revenue dry up, perhaps they're a small business, again, touring or event related, and they don't know how they might get through the next period of time until we're on the backside of this. We are lending into this pandemic. Again, if you were a good client before and highly likely to be a good client after, call your banker. We have been given the flexibility to assist in many, many cases. And if not directly assist, I would point a lot of people towards the SBA programs that are heavily discussed in the news right now. Maybe we'll get into that in a little bit, but some really, really helpful and solid options coming from the SBA. I'd say lastly, so that's kind of those with existing loans, those that might need access to some new funds. Document what's happening right now. If you're a small business that's been affected, I know it's hard to stop and say this started on X date, and hopefully we'll be able to say it ends on X date here in the near future. But document the time that you've been impacted and the revenues and income that you may have lost. There will be a time on the backside of this where you might be looking for credit in the future as an example, and we need to isolate this period of time as kind of a one-off unusual event. And I think banks will be willing to do that in the future. So the more that you can kind of quantitate what's going on with your business now, the less the impact of that will carry with you for years to come.
Yeah, I think that's great advice. I know as we begin to uncover all of the information with respect to the SBA, that certainly feels like what they're looking for is to be able to document and see the difference between maybe what your business looked like a year ago and then how it's been impacted since the pandemic has hit, and being able to compare those two to show the loss in revenue and the impact to the bottom line to your small business. What about for individuals? I think you mentioned earlier to really the best thing they can do is contact their financial advisor or give a phone call to the bank to just see what options are available. Is there any other guidance you'd give to individuals that might be helpful during this time?
Yeah, I mean, I think from a financial perspective, that would be the main one. Make sure you're in communication with your banker, with your financial advisor at this time. Don't ignore that. That probably is an intimidating phone call to make. I promise you it won't be. Banks, in particular Pinnacle, are helping a lot of clients out right now, and we're happy to do it. Watch the news, the stimulus package, which has recently been approved. We're still learning about the details of that. I think there's a lot of help on the way, and I'm sure we will be doing some other seminars and WebExes on what might happen there. But it's really unprecedented. It's targeted towards helping Main Street, especially those that have been affected at work at this point in time. So again, as we sit today, it's March 26th today, so we're just learning the details of that program. But watch carefully there. Again, this is an unprecedented move by our federal government. I think there's a lot of help to come.
Yeah, I know Pinnacle, for example, we've already put in place some relief loans to individuals who may depend on performing live, who may depend on events, who may work weekend to weekend, given various events and things that just aren't happening right now. And we get that and we understand that. And so I think your advice is great, Andy. I think just reach out and give your banker a call. If you don't have somebody directly that you deal with, I know people in your office would be happy to help, and any of the local Pinnacle offices would love to just have a conversation to understand what their situation is and see if there's not some help we can offer.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. And we've been as busy as we've ever been right now. Phones ringing off the hook with people that have questions, need access to funds, need some help with their existing lines of credit. And it's been well received by our group. They're working late nights right now, but they're happy to do it.
Andy, have you seen areas of the music and entertainment industry that have been hit harder, or maybe who haven't been hit as hard during the last couple of weeks as this continues to make an impact on our country and really the entire world?
Yeah, again, on the less hard side, publishers and record labels really seem to be holding up well, which is good. On the harder hit side, anything tied towards to touring. And we think maybe of artists, and certainly they're directly affected, but there's a lot of jobs built around an artist that commission tour revenues, like artist managers and business managers and agents. So anybody in the live space is really hunkering down and trying to figure out what to do right now. So they've definitely been hit harder. There's been a lot of questions, some for us bankers, others that are probably better for accountants, attorneys, insurance providers. And I'm happy to maybe talk through some of what we're hearing question-wise from those most affected. But there's a lot of questions and answers are coming.
Yeah, it's an ever changing. I mean, it's hour by hour as information comes out. The information, we've got to discern it and then try and communicate it effectively. What are some of the most common questions that you've seen over the last week?
Yeah, well, I mean, first and foremost, when might this end? And of course, we don't have the answer to that. I would say most of our clients are kind of living 90 to 120 days at a time right now. No one can really see past that, and most solutions at this point are kind of built around that time frame. In the live space, a lot of questions around insurance. If you had tour cancellation insurance, business interruption insurance, no-show insurance, will it pay in this environment? Unfortunately, in a lot of cases, there are exclusions for act of gods and pandemics. And so you might have thought you were appropriately insured, and you may not be for this event. But in other cases, it does. So best advice, be reaching out to your insurance provider, see if you have any sort of coverage or any disruption in income at this point in time. Same thing, on the live space in terms of, as an example, maybe guarantees. Promoters that give artists guarantees for a certain number of shows, and those shows have been canceled. Those guarantees might be held in escrow with an agent or a ticketing company, something along those lines. Does an artist still get that money, or does that money go back to the promoter? There's a lot of money kind of in flux right now, and who gets it is the main question. Again, the answer is it depends. It depends on how contracts are written. Good time to have an entertainment attorney, review your contracts, see what you might legally have the right to do and have the right to keep, see what you financially might have the ability to afford to do, and always weigh that with what's the right thing to do in this case. But I would say the same way I'm advising people reach out to your banker, reach out to your attorney, in many cases, reach out to your insurance provider. There's a lot of questions and a lot of gray area in that space right now, too.
You mentioned earlier, I guess the first thought is the live space and the artists and musicians. But like you mentioned, there's a lot of support that makes all of that happen. And those people are right now probably wondering where their next check's going to come from and trying to figure that out. Are there pockets within the music and entertainment industry that you would advise them to look to for maybe some temporary work, or trying to bridge the gap between now and when things get back to normal again?
That's a great question. I'm sure there are some of those pockets, and we've actually seen some well-capitalized businesses look at this as an opportunity to hire some good people. So those with strong balance sheets might be playing a little more offense right now, and those that are having issues with liquidity at the moment are unable to do that. So I do think you will see some businesses, not necessarily one pocket or another, look to ramp up and hire some good talent, and know that there will be an end to this at some point.
Yeah. Well, Andy, you've been super helpful. Are there any closing thoughts that you'd like to offer as we wrap up our time together?
Man, everybody hang in there. This too will pass. We've all just come out of what we call the Great Recession, 2008, 9, 10, and that was really a Wall Street issue that became a Main Street problem. This is a Main Street pandemic that has become a financial problem, so it's going to operate a little differently. As quickly as we've seen the economy fall, I think we will see it come back nearly as quickly in many cases in many industries. So it's a matter of everybody staying healthy. Health is the most important thing right now, and your banks are going to work with you. Federal government's making unprecedented moves. Let's get our country healthy and back to work as soon as we can, and we'll be on the other side of this. And economically, I feel pretty good that will be a blip on our radar at some point.
Yeah, well, thanks for making a little bit of time to join us and share your perspective. I know it's helpful to everybody that's tuned in to listen. We're thankful that you all took some time to spend a few minutes with us to listen to some perspective on and maybe some advice on how to navigate what really truly for all of us is uncharted territories. Know that Pinnacle is here, ready to listen, ready to have a conversation and offer some advice as the days change and as the information comes out. We'll try to help you walk through it and discern it. We love to get people together and to share information and to connect you. But right now, that's a bit of a challenge, and so we're having to do that remotely with webinars like this. So please stay tuned at pnfp.com/update for more webinars. Connect with us on LinkedIn and Facebook. We put articles and information and videos out there. And then share with us if there's more information that you'd like to know. We'd love to hear from you so that we can provide the information that's most helpful. But I think Andy's point that's most effective is pick up the phone and give your financial advisor a call, and let's have a conversation to try to help you navigate through this. And know and understand we're ready to help. And as more information comes out, we'll try to be the first to give you the best information out there. Thanks for making time to be with us today. Andy, thanks for your time.